today we're going to go over the impacts that are happening out there on the astrological level for 2019 and what that entails for this upcoming new year for you. Now, what's interesting with my Libra friends, you are ruled by the planet Venus, the planet of the heart center, love, beauty, and the past couple of years, that wonderful planet of yours has retrograded, especially rare retrograde that happened last year. And when that happens, it throws you off a little bit. And it puts you in this cycle where you feel like you're starting all over again. Luckily this year we don't have that happening. So we are starting out on a new foot, new energy, ready to move forward for the coming year. And this is a year where the eclipses that are out there in the sky, eclipses in astrology always bring new beginnings, and they're wanting to bring new beginnings to your house of home and family. And that's wonderful because there's so much that was delayed in that process last year that's ready to be freed up and let in some amazing energy this year. So let's get into it, shall we? Okay. So one of the things that we have happening is, why don't we just talk about that house of home and family? We were just talking about it anyway. So the fourth house in astrology, like I just said, represents our physical home. It represents the family that's around us, the people we consider family also. But it also is about our childhood and our early upbringing and our roots. All of those things fall into the fourth house. And there are these eclipses that happen this year in this sign, in this house for you, that are ready to move off the old that doesn't work and welcome in the new. All right, these eclipse dates are January 6th, July 17th, and December 26th. So pay attention to what's happening around that time frame. Those eclipses are like billboards from the universe, and they say, hey, this ain't working. Hey, you need to do this. I mean, there's things that it's so painfully obvious at the time of eclipses, especially the first one that happens in the year, that says this needs to change in order for these new great things to happen, because that's what the eclipse is pushing us towards. Now, not only that, but it's also trying to release some old childhood stuff too that keeps following you around and putting a little bit of a block in your way. 2018 was a tough year for everybody, because there was a lot of energy rooted in Scorpio, in dealing with traumas and horrible things that have happened in our past that keep us stuck. It was about letting that go. A lot of those traumas are rooted in childhood experiences, and they're painful to access. That's part of what made it such a tough year, was that it was a year of letting these things go. Now, if you find that it was like, nope, not ready to deal with it, don't want to deal with it, it's going to be re-emerging at the time of these eclipses this year. You, my Libra friends, get an extra chance, I suppose you could say, 2019, to really resolve these issues that plague and repeat and resurface in the strangest and most interesting ways in our life and in our relationships, okay? Especially when it comes to the home and family. So, amazing energy out there to hit a reset button for that this year. Now, another thing that's going to be happening is in your house of finances. Money, second house in astrology, is all about money, how we make it, and all things physical and tangible that we hold of value. Now, what's going to be happening in the second house that's going to be in pivotal for 2019 is the Mercury retrogrades are going to be hitting all of those finance sectors throughout your chart. Mercury is the planet of mind and communication. And when they retrograde, we reassess what's happened in the past so we can move forward with better clarity on how we want to do things differently. These are all happening in water signs. Each one of these Mercury retrogrades are happening in water signs. So a lot of it is going back into the past and looking to see how our intuition worked with the tangible and the real, right? Following what our intuition is telling us to do in terms of these finances. Now, a thing with these Mercury retrogrades, because it deals with the mind, it's also going to have us reassessing how the money is made and what needs to be done to make more of it, right? Not only do you have that, but on the opposite end of this spectrum, you have the 8th house, which deals with joint finances. So your partner's money that they make, but also the money that you owe to other people. So our debts fall into that 8th house as well. We're going into a new trend this year where Uranus, the planet that liberates us and frees us from certain things, many things, is going to be moving into Taurus. And it's when it moves into Taurus, that's huge because Uranus moves so dang slow because it's so far out there that its revolutions around the sun take a long time. It takes 82 years, right, to go around the sun, where we take 365 days. This guy takes 82 years to go around. So when it moves into a new sign or into a new house in your chart, we perk our ears up and we listen because big things are happening. And where this is happening is in that house of shared finances and debts, right? The planet of freedom falls into that category. That sounds pretty good, right? The next 7 years are going to be focused on financial freedom and making sure that that happens, right? The Mercury retrogrades are going to have you reassessing and thinking of new plans to make sure that this happens in tangible reality for you as well. This is huge. Huge way to reshape your financial position over the next several years. Now, another thing, too, is that Uranus, as it goes through, yeah, it likes to free us, but man, it creates a lot of craziness in its wake. I tell you what. And where that planet has been the past 7 years is in your house of relationships and marriage. And it's finally leaving. Hallelujah. Starting in March. So the past 8 years have brought unexpected upheavals in those relationships, those marriages, those partnerships, those close friendships. And as Uranus leaves that 7th house, it's got a nice stable foundation under its feet, right? Because it's gone through all the craziness and these things that unexpectedly bring the people through that are meant to be in your life. And then other ones unexpectedly leave. All of this crazy chaos and such. But no matter what, even if you're looking for that relationship and that person hasn't come in, this is going to be a year where that could very well happen. Because we're talking about fresh starts in these relationships. That's what Uranus was trying to do over the course of those several years. But it was doing so by having you reassess who you are and what you need. And then when you did that, that brought in the person. If that hadn't happened, it's okay, because 2019 still has that window for it to happen. But it's under more stable ground for that to happen. And there are periods that are a little bit stronger for that new energy to come through than others. And that's going to be January 1st through February 14th, because Mars, the planet that initiates new things, is going to be going through the sign of Aries, which is the opposite of your sign. Opposites create balance in astrology. So that 6 weeks is going to be a very strong time for new beginnings to happen. And then again, April 21st through May 15th, when your ruling planet Venus, the planet of love and money, right, moves into your sign. That is going to be a perfect time frame for that to happen. New beginnings happen in Aries, and as Venus goes through that, your opposing sign, that's when some new energy can come through. Even if you're not looking for a new person, and you're working on a pre-existing relationship that's weathered all this craziness of Uranus going through over the past several years, this is a great time for new energy to come through there as well. Wonderful opportunities for career as well moving forward. There's an especially lucky period that happens June 22nd to the 28th because the solar eclipses are going to be happening. There's one in particular that happens July 3rd in this career sector for you that is trying to initiate a new beginning. So whether that's you getting recognition and taking on more of a leadership role, moving into the next phase of what your career is, or maybe it's a brand new opportunity and a brand new line of work, what have you. These types of things appear when we have a willingness to overcome our personal fears that we can't do it, right? Libra, you are so balanced and so you always see both sides of the situation, but it's very hard for you to make a decision one way or another because you want to stay on the fence and go, I can do this, and this has this, and this has this. You see the goods and the pros and the cons and everything, and sometimes that creates inability to move either way, right, in decision, and that stops us. This is one of those things where this year it calls you to say, act on it. Take one, make a decision, and go. And when you do, and you release that fear that you're going to make the wrong decision, because you're not going to make the wrong decision, wonderful things come to your place, and it automatically goes right to that career house. So definitely, there may be a chance, I have it written here, where you might have to make a quick split-second decision, because that universe is so hilarious. I tell you what, like, God has quite a sense of humor. I tell you what, that they know how indecisive the Libra energy can be, because you see both sides of everything, that it's going to make it so you have to act on what your intuition is telling you. That is going to be May 16th to July 2nd. If something comes up with your career in that time frame, follow what your intuition is telling you, and I'm telling you, it will not lead you astray. Promise you that. So now let's look at specific birthdays and how this is going to be making an impact for you. Now, of course, this is just a general, overall blanket statement here for various Libras to know how this year is going to specifically impact you. I advise getting a chart reading that's specific for your birth date and time and location. Of course, that's what I do as an astrologer. I do readings in person, phone, Skype, all over the world. I do these readings all the time, and it helps us to better understand who we are and where we are on our journey and why this energy is happening to us as it does. I do a $77 year outlook. I do this every year. It's like the only special I do every year, but I love to help people know what to anticipate for the upcoming year and how it's affecting you. So link for that is below, but in general, these are blanket statements. If your birthday's not in here, don't worry. I mean, doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen to you this year, and you might find that one of these actually fits better for where you're at now anyway. So let's just get to it here. Okay, so if your birthday is October 4th through the 15th, Saturn out there in the sky, that's the one that stabilizes things, right, is going to be squaring off with your Libra sun. What does that mean, you ask? So what that means is Saturn is an interesting one. I tell you what, Saturn makes us work hard to get the things, and it's not like Jupiter where it just gives us luck. Saturn makes us work our butt off for it, right? So you will find that with Saturn working with that Libra sun of yours, it is reaping the rewards from the hard work that you put in starting in 2010, 2011. It's like those seeds are coming up this year. This is huge. This is the only birth date one that I have out of all the signs, all the birthdays, all the weeks, all of it that says anything like this. There are some major rewards that are coming to you for the hard work that you've put in. Good job, right? Saturn is it's paying off, right? It's saying it's going to pay off. Not only that, but it's kind of more of a sobering year. I think you're going to be a little bit more, not that you're like not responsible or anything, I'm not saying that, but it's like something along those lines where you're so focused on the future and making sure all your ducks are in a row for the future that's kind of like what your sole focus is on. So you're just a little bit more serious this year. That's a better word. More serious about things this year. And that's okay, right? That's okay because some good things are coming through. Not only does that come through being focused on the future plans, but it gives you good base for moving into it as well. Now, if your birthday is October 14th to October 17th, Pluto out there in the sky is squaring your sun. Now, Pluto is the planet of transformation. So anytime Pluto is making an impact to your sun represents your essence and your energy and who you are. If Pluto is making some sort of contact to that, that's a long time coming influence. Pluto moves so slow, it takes a long time for it to make an impact, especially to your natal sun, the most vital part of your chart. If it's doing that, that indicates that this is a year of major transformation for you. All right? Caterpillar to the butterfly. That is what this is, a metamorphosis type year for you. Shedding that old skin to allow the new you to emerge. But in order for that to happen, something has to end. In the past couple of years, I've said, this has to end. This has to end. And remember, we talked about this with those eclipses that are out there in the skies. That's the billboard from the universe that is saying, this has to end. Like for reals this time. That kind of energy is around you especially, okay? Listen to what it is. And you'll also see it in the themes that appear to you in terms of power and control struggles with others, okay? Because in that, you're going to find the message from the universe about what needs to be let go. Maybe it's an old mentality, an old idea. Maybe it's the indecision that comes up and stops you. Whatever it is, there's a hidden underlying message in those things that feel like roadblocks and completely unfair situations that keep reemerging this year. There's something in there that's pushing you to say, this has to end. Okay, listen to that. And then listen to the guides that are helping you to let that go. That's Pluto. That's Pluto. Now, if your birthday is October 22nd or 23rd, Uranus out there in the sky is working with your sun, and I tell you what, is trying to free you and liberate you as well, okay? Uranus is like a rebel, big time, and it's going to bring out the inner rebel in you that's saying, this don't work for me no more, I need this to change. That's Uranus working with your sign this year, and that's okay, because you know what it's ultimately doing? It's moving you to the more authentic and true and real you, okay? Libra friends, I tell you what, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe below. I do my weekly videos every week talking about what energy is going on out there in the universe, letting you know what the planets are doing, how it's impacting us, what to look out for. Follow me on Facebook. I also do the same there. Little tidbits here and there, little spiritual insights. Amazing how much information when you start following the world of astrology and how much we can tap in and harness that know-how in it. We really can plan for our life better, especially around those moon cycles as well. So, hey, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a blessed and wonderful new year of prosperous new beginnings. Thank you so much. Bye.